All right, everybody, this is the completed play set from that you see at Costco. So you're like, wow, that thing's cool. This could be, my kids would love it. Yeah, the kids love it, but putting it together, man, it's not very much fun. Definitely recommended for minimum of 2 people. I did this by myself most of the time. Had some help from my kids and a couple daughters, or a daughter-in-law and one of my son's girlfriends. But yeah, it's complete. A little twisty slide, a straight slide, a little mini rock wall. You got these 2 swings, little chin-up bar, pull-up bar, whatever you call it. And over on the other side, there's a fireman's pole. But it's got a roof and everything. The wood is really, really, really dry. I mean, it's like balsa wood dry. I'm gonna have to make a shade cover. There's a guy in the neighborhood, I've seen him make some covers for horses. So I'll have him build one for this so the wood just doesn't disintegrate in the sun here. One of my major tips on this thing is go through the instructions, read through them, so you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. I laid out the wooden pieces on my car trailer so I could identify them easy. But after completing this, I would suggest going through and assembling all the little sub parts. Like this is one of the last ones here. Assemble this little A-frame for the swing, and then go through and assemble this beam right here with all the hardware on it, things like that. This wall right here, there's pieces that go in this wall, assemble that. Same with this little bench right here, assemble all those pieces that you're gonna need. Same with the bridge, assemble those pieces, the roof pieces. And it'd make it a lot easier, and then all you gotta do is come out and put it together. This little rock wall thing, my suggestion when you put it together is, because they give you measurements and they want you to space out these gaps to a specific measurement. I would take these little backing plates right here for these pieces and use those as spacers so you get the gap correct, because I had 1 or 2 that were just a hair off and hard to get in, because your measurements are never perfect, especially when you're old and blind like me. So that's my suggestion for things like that. There's other measurements too, which are kind of confusing, like say for these slats right here, because one of the annoying things is you have to drill most of your holes, not these little ones, but some of the ones that go like into these bigger pieces of wood. You got to drill those. The only ones that are pre-drilled are the bigger ones like this, and that's where it gets confusing sometimes, because there's no orientation arrows which way's up on these beams, and there was a couple of them that the holes did look evenly spaced, so I figured, oh, doesn't matter which way you turn it. No, when you put it together, the middle hole would actually be like 1 inch difference between here and this side. So you got to make sure you get them correct. That's kind of a pain in the butt. You can make this a project with your kids. Unfortunately, because this is for little kids, you'd have to use, unless your kids are handy with tools and instructions and have a better attention span than a squirrel. I'd get some kids that are really interested in helping you put this together. It'd be a great family project to do this together. But again, assemble all the pieces. When you do the roof, that one you kind of need 2 adults up there, because you need a ladder and it's kind of high up, so I wouldn't put kids up there to do that, because it's, I don't know, if you're assembling in uneven dirt, your ladder has a tendency to wobble and kind of sketchy. The other hard one put together is this dang slide. underneath these silly little covers. I can understand why the covers are there, because you get kids like mine, or not kids like my grandkids like mine, that are going to get on the top and try to slide down like knuckleheads. That's what kids do. But underneath this is like a band, it's similar to this, where you got to put all these screws and bolts together. That's another one where these little sections right here, from there to there, you put them together. I put them together in my garage, and then I brought them all down here and put them together into one piece. Oh, look at that little cicada. Lost his shell right here. Bye-bye. Geez, what else on this thing? This one's kind of, I don't know, they could have done a better job of making a support thing for this, because that little tiny support thing down there makes it kind of, I don't know, doesn't make me all happy. They could have done something that came out longer and came to there, and then plus up here. And that's the other one, this little strap right here that goes in that band. You have to loosen this band up to be able to get that thing in there, and it's kind of difficult. Little things like that. They could have, instead of just attaching it here, they could have attached this slide even from here to here somehow to make it more stable, because I have a feeling if anything breaks on this, it's going to be this slide. They could have attached it from here to here, anything to keep this thing from moving around more. But like I said, little kids, no problem. If you get big chunky kids, they're gonna destroy this thing. Got this little ladder, fireman pole over here. My two granddaughters have already been out here on this thing, and they love it to death. They call it their house. But they're little girls, and this makes them super happy. But I just barely finished putting on this swing set assembly. Got this up there. Again, certain things like this, putting all these bolts in up here on these brackets, put them in hand loose, don't tighten them until you get all this in, and then all this together. The reason being is everybody's ground slope is going to different, and so if you were to tighten those up and come out here and try to tighten these up, this thing's going to be hanging off the ground. So you want it to be on the ground before you go through and actually tighten those, and tighten those over there, because it's a decent span, and no matter how you eyeball it, your dirt's never really flat, and then kids are going to get under there and dig anyways. But yeah, so you can see how dry that wood is up there. But we'll see. COSTCO Super Kids play set. Your tools, kind of odd. One of the tools that they don't talk about when assembling this is one of these little, I don't know, some people call them different things. I just call it a little hammer drill. But you don't have to buy Milwaukee because they're expensive. They are better, a little expensive. If you're going out to buy just a family thing to put together little random things here and there, you can go with the very less expensive and less powerful Ryobi. And actually the Ryobi would probably be better for a lot of people, because you wouldn't over tighten a lot of these, because the wood is so dry they have a tendency to sink, and you don't want to sink these like some of these I accidentally did. You want to be kind of try to have them flush so the wood doesn't split, but every once in a while you get one that you sink too far, and that's just because I use this Milwaukee. It's kind of powerful compared to the Ryobi. Ryobi's less powerful, and you probably wouldn't have that issue. It's a perfectly fine tool, but for the average person it's easier to work with. But in the instructions it tells you to use ratchets and wrenches and screwdrivers and a drill. You definitely need a drill. So my recommendation is you can get the little drill bits that attach in here, or if you buy the set with this thing and a drill together, then you can use this for all your little, I buy these little like 1/2-inch drives for these things, which work great. You can pick them up at Harbor Freight for like $5 for a set. And then use your drill for your drill bit. And because you do a lot of drilling. But remember, measure twice, so you don't mess up your holes. I was measuring and I did mess up a few, but I was able to save it because it's, again, because there's no orientation on some of these beams, it does get kind of confusing. But oh, and that's the other thing too. You'll notice some of these pieces are different color. Like this floor is different color. It doesn't really clarify that in the instructions. So if you're searching for a numbered piece of wood and you can't find it, because they all have numbers like this, that I think are just painted on there. I don't think that's burned. I would have burned them. You can't find it, start looking at the brown ones, because the instructions don't specify color. That's about it. Any questions, you can always put it on the comments there, and I usually do check all the comments at least once a week, and I can help you with anything if you're going to attempt to put this together as a family. So that's it. And my overall on this thing, 50-50. Good luck if you do it.